Even on the dreariest day, Marpur still looks beautiful to me. That's the port where the boats used to come in. They'd drop off produce and pick it up. And what was once a quiet, sleepy little fishing village has now got a lot of flash homes in it, and quite a few people from overseas too live here now. A lot of Kiwis have been pretty much priced out of the market to buy a house along here unless you've got a lot of money. There's an abundance of fish come up in here. And Rabbit Island on the other side, that's where I go to get my flounder, spear flounder up in there. And right out in front of us, that's where the kahawai are. And that point on the other side, heaps of fish off there. You see them rise quite regularly. That's where I like to go. I used to fish off here with my nephew, Mikhail. Fish just rising there. Quite a few fish rising. I think there's a few sprats in there. I reckon if you put a lure out there right now, you get a fish because something's feeding there. And there's the old bucket of hairy arseholes. And that's what today's story is about. Well, not that actually, it's about karma. Morning brothers, how you doing? I've got Tilly the toilet brush somewhere, there she goes. Down there with me, sporting a little jacket. So karma's a thing that we talk about, but I don't know if I believe in karma. I know people that are just horrible and they always seem to land on their feet, and I know good people that have horrible things happen to them. But this particular story is about the old boat. It's not mine anymore, I sold it. So, years ago, there's a bloke, I'm not going to say his name, but he ran into trouble, and my dad was on D'Urville Island, and the other boat called up and said, hey, I'm in trouble. And Dad had just got to D'Urville Island. He was planning a 10-day trip. It was day 2. This bloke had broken down his boat, so Dad towed him all the way back. Gave up his trip because the weather closed enough that he could never get back to it, plus the lengthy tow, and he said to the other guy, a couple $100 for fuel to cover it. It wouldn't have covered it because Dad had also lost his trip, but the guy really grizzled and complained about it. Well, a couple $100, you charge me that. Dad was like, no, anybody else I would have probably done it for free, but you, mate, you're always being horrible to everybody, so it's going to cost you a couple of $100, which is what it's costing me. So he begrudged my dad that and didn't say sorry for buggering up his hunting and fishing trip. And Dad stayed home, didn't take the boat away. Anyway, 3.5 years ago, I was in St George's Hospital in Christchurch, and that boat was sitting out there. Not that one, sorry. Sorry, I tell a fib. My houseboat was sitting out there. The houseboat was out there, and I was in hospital, and I couldn't do anything. I was fighting a battle back then, a health battle with cancer, and I get a call from the council. He says, look mate, it's Andrew here. I'm really sorry, but had a complaint about your houseboat on your mooring there. And I said, who's complained? He said, well, it's, you know, you guessed it, the same bloke that my dad had towed out. So I said, look, son, I'm in hospital right now, man, and I can't even move. He says, I know you're in hospital, I know your situation, I've been talking to your family, and I'm sorry, but this guy keeps on putting pressure on us, you've got to get your houseboat off there. I said, well, I can't do anything right now. And he said, well, give me a date when you can, and I was under pressure. Oh, there goes a stingray, right here. It's going down there in the water, you probably can't see it underwater. Anyway, the reason it had to come off the mooring was because the bloke had been complaining about it, because his mooring was next to it, and he was saying that my boat was swinging too much, and that my houseboat was 2 metres too long to be on my mooring. So he pushed it, and he didn't even actually have a boat on the other mooring. That was the other mooring up there. So I come back, I was very, very sick, man. I only weighed bloody 56 kilogram. I was crook, and I had to work out where to put my houseboat. So I took it around the corner there in some bushes, some native bush, and I tied it up on no man's sort of land, and it stayed there for a long time, just recently, until I shifted it off my property. Point being is that the bloke that did that just did it because he did nasty stuff. Anyway, I've been working on this boat. I tried to sell it, nobody wanted to buy it. Well, a few people did say they want to buy it, and they pulled out of the deal, and eventually I thought I'll keep it anyway. So me and mates, we all worked on it. We got her all like so she wasn't leaking and she was going good, and getting ready to actually do a mission on it. And guess who wants to buy me boat? But that same bloke I'm talking about. I didn't even want to sell it to him because he's just always been, he's never been that nice, that positive. But he came up to me and says, look, I want to buy your boat. And I says, really? He goes, yep. So I took him for a spin in the boat and gave him the time of day. Didn't really want to, but thought, oh yeah, okay. I still was half-half about selling the boat because I'd done a lot of work on it. By now I'd spent another grand on it and put a couple of weeks work in and fixed all the problems. And I was starting to get quite attached to the boat, but I thought, oh, I probably should get rid of it because it's a wooden boat, and right now I'm in a stage of my life where I've got to concentrate on more important things. So he said, I'm 99% sure I'm going to buy that boat. And I said, okay, well when you're 100% sure, come and see me. And anyway, a week later he comes and he says, look, my wife won't let me buy it. I said, mate, go and have a look inside your wife's purse while we're on the phone right now. He goes, well, why? And I said, to check out where your bloody balls are. Anyway, because I think she's got them. So he didn't buy the boat. That's okay, I was quite happy with that. So I carried on working on it and took it for another spin. I think I slept the night on it too, and made some meals on it, cooked some fish up on it and such. About probably 3 weeks ago now, I'm sitting on the toilet at home having a dump, and I can hear someone outside my window. And he's never been able to say my name right. He's always said it wrong. But anyway, he's calling my name, and I recognise that voice. And I said, I'm having a dump. He goes, yeah. He says, he's outside the old farmhouse. He says, oh, I want to buy your boat. I says, no, you don't. You're not buying my boat. You don't want it. No, I do. He says, I've changed my mind. I want to buy it. I said, well, I thought your wife said you couldn't have it. Oh, she's changed her mind too. Smells like bullshit to me, I thought. I said, well, I don't want to sell it anymore. I decided to keep it, and I'm doing work on it. And he says, look, I'm sorry. I thought about it a lot, and it's a good boat, and I want to have it. And I thought, oh, fuck. So I finished my business, washed my hands, went out, said, listen, mate, you've mucked me around so much, I don't really want to do this. He says, look, I'm serious. I'll put the money in your account on Monday. I said, all right, we'll sell the bloody thing. So I sold the boat, and the money turned up in the account. There it was. 3 weeks later, he comes round and goes, the boat's taking on water. I said, hey, it's not my problem, all right? When it went on the mooring, it was tight as a camel's arsehole in a sandstorm. I was on there all day with my mate Blair, electrics, and not once did the bilge pump go. So she's taking water out. It was sold as is. Oh, I'm going to put it up on the beach and chop it up with a chainsaw, he said. I said, that'll be pretty expensive firewood. Go for it. Anyway, I've told him I'll help him. He's going to take it out and do some work on it. That's what he always wanted to do. But he's now saying it's a liability and all this has come to him. And I couldn't think of a better bloke that boat to go to if it's really doing that. I don't even believe that it is, to be honest. We worked for ages, and I've been coming down here watching it. I've never seen the bilge pump going, but now he's not happy. Not my problem. Not my problem. I think I've been more than reasonable. Anyway, it's not really karma. It's just funny how things eventually come around if you keep being nice to people. And he's as nice as pie to me these days. He's like, because he wants me to help him with stuff all the time. And I said, oh, I'll help you if I can, but don't know. We'll see how we get on with it. It's funny because my mum said to me when I was a tiny kid, she said, always be nice to your enemies and the people that treat you bad. And we used to live next to this woman called Mrs. Bennett. I remember her well, and she was always horrible to my mum. She was horrible to all of us, actually. She was a horrible lady. And one day Mum was baking my favourite banana cake. I love banana cake. And she was baking it. I said, who's that for? And she goes, this is for Mrs. Bennett. I said, Mrs. Bennett? Little boy, 5 years old, can't comprehend why his mother would make a banana cake for anybody but himself. Till he come. She goes, that's right, Mrs. Bennett. And I said, but I like banana cake. Till he come. Come on. We're going to go now, mate. Get up. Oh, well done. Get on your side. There you go. Oh, there you go. And she says, no, Mrs. Bennett's been pretty mean the last few days, so we're going to do something nice for her. Even as a small child, I couldn't really comprehend what that was all about and what it meant. And I said, but when I'm naughty, I get told off. You don't give me banana cake when I'm naughty. Mum said, it's different. It's different. This lady, she's not being nice, and she needs the banana cake more than anybody because she's so unhappy. She's so unhappy, and no one's ever going to like her. A bit like the bloke that I sold the boat to. No one's really going to like him because he's horrible to everybody. And so she made her a banana cake, and I remember going over with Mum, and I remember that Mrs. Bennett sliced a piece up on the table and made tea for Mum, and she had a piece, and Mum had a piece, and I didn't get a piece. I was looking at the banana cake, and I can remember my mum looking at Mrs. Bennett, like looking at her, and she says to Mrs. Bennett, she goes, he really loves banana cake, it's his favourite. And Mrs. Bennett looks down, she goes, oh, I like banana cake too. Kept on eating. Mum said, it'd be nice if you gave him a wee bit. And she goes, oh yes, of course, and slices me a bit off, and I get some banana cake. And I remember eating it, going, oh, my favourite. Thanks, Mum. And when we left, Mrs. Bennett called us back, and she said to my Mum's Joan, she says, Joan, I'm sorry about the other day. I could have been a bit nicer about that. It was a thing they had. Mum said, I haven't given another thought. Of course, Mum had. That's why she made the banana cake. And that neighbour and Mum got on very well, always. But you can fall out with neighbours. And I'll finish up the story, although we started off talking about karma, about your neighbours. It is absolutely critical with your neighbours that you never fall out. Because once you do, there's no getting away from them. If you fall out with a mate, you can move on, but if you fall out with your neighbour, you're stuck beside them. Yeah. Currently I've got a neighbour that's reported me to the council because I've got my houseboat on the property. And why, I don't know. It's not hurting them in any capacity at all. And when I find out who that person is, I'll probably bake them a banana cake. Anyway, guys, you have a great day. Go steady. Check on a brother. And go and be nice to someone who's been horrible to you. Watch how it can turn things around. One of my biggest patrons and biggest subscribers is somebody who dissed me and dissed me and dissed me about 7 years ago now. These days he supports what I do. He puts in my patron, he's a what we class as a gold. There's different tiers, and he's a $50 American a month. And he was a person that was so horrible to me. And I did the same thing. I sent him 2 CDs. I sent him my Balls Up, Ballads and Bullshit CD and my Quarried Seed. I think it was a Quarried. Yeah, it was. My Quarried Treed CD. I sent him those 2 and in a packet. And I said, mate, I see you've been struggling a lot lately in the comment section. You've been saying horrible stuff to me. I said, I see you've been struggling, and I thought this might make your day a bit brighter. And now he's the biggest support I've got. And I talk to him regularly, and we've got past all the stuff, and he's actually a really lovely bloke. He was just going through a shit time, and I was the one he was taking it out on. But it didn't work. Anyway, I'll finish up there. Have a great day. See you later.